Yes, people, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well and in good health. Okay, so right now we're on political. So let's take a look at what's going on here. So Europe's economy cannot grow without migrants. Oh, lo and behold, Lagarde warns foreign workers delivered half of the bloc's job growth since the last 3 years, but populist backlash could shut the door on future gains, ECB chief said. Okay, so the European Union's economy would have looked far weaker after the pandemic without foreign workers, European Central Bank chief Christine Lagarde said, warning policymakers not to ignore migration's role even as it fuels political tensions. Speaking at the US Federal Reserve's annual symposium in Wyoming, Lagarde said an influx of foreign labor helped the Eurozone absorb successive shocks like soaring energy costs and record inflation, while keeping growth and jobs intact. Employment in the bloc expanded by 4.1% between late 2021 and mid 2025, nearly matching gains in gross domestic product, she noted. Although they represented only around 9% of the total labor force in 2022, foreign workers have accounted for half of its growth over the past 3 years, Lagarde told the gathering of central bankers. Without that contribution, she added, labor market conditions could be tighter and output lower. Lagarde singled out Germany and Spain as examples. Germany's GDP would be about 6% lower today without migrant labor, while Spain's strong recovery also owes much to foreign workers, she said. Across the Eurozone, employment has expanded by more than 4% since 2021, even as central bankers push through the steepest rate hikes in generations. So, you can see clearly here, the ECB chief is clearly indicating that migration has had a massive impact on the European Union and the various European countries, helping with labor shortages, helping with actual, jobs and being able to benefit the economy. Obviously, as somebody who's a descendant of immigrants who moved to the UK in the 1950s and 60s, I understand how immigration has impacted. For example, in my local area, my country, the UK, immigration impacted the UK positively. So, for example, people like my grandparents came to the UK post World War II. So, my granddad and his brother were both soldiers in the British Indian Army, and they were invited to come to the UK to help rebuild it after World War II. Obviously, there was a massive shortage of labor and productivity had been smashed with the war. Then people from the Indian subcontinent and also the Caribbean and other parts of the world, the Commonwealth, came to the UK post World War II in the 50s, 60s, and they helped rebuild it, especially sectors like, for example, manufacturing, industry, cotton, factories, and then you had like the healthcare sector like NHS and various other sectors at that time benefited greatly from migration, and that basically helped build the economy, rebuild the nation, and give a big boost to the wider, position economically and other various elements there at the time. So you can see now how migration can actually have a positive impact on particular countries that people are moving to and working in and contributing positively to. Obviously, we've seen a rise of far right rhetoric and anti immigrant rhetoric across Europe in places like the UK, Germany, France, and elsewhere. But what we don't see in the media very often is how immigrants actually impact and contribute positively. They work across all sectors and help, with the economy and help build value in the countries that they're in. But again, these are stories that are not told, and we are seeing a heightened level of fear and antagonism towards migrants. So the ECB president argued that migration has played a crucial role in offsetting Europe's shrinking birth rate and growing appetite for shorter working hours. So obviously, across Europe, across the West, there is now a new type of thing, a pandemic in terms of population. So people are not having enough children or babies, and there is a decline in population. However, people are growing older, living longer, so that means they're taking up pensions, and as they grow in later life, they need healthcare. So that is an issue right now in terms of supporting older people within the demograph within countries, and the shrinking birth rate across Europe is going to affect productivity, the economy, things like care work and so on. She also said companies expand output and damped inflationary pressures even as wages lag behind prices. But Lagarde also acknowledged the politics. Net immigration pushed the EU's population to a record 450 million last year, even as governments from Berlin to Rome moved to restrict new arrivals under pressure from voters flocking to far right parties. Well, if there's a certain narrative that's continually portrayed day after day across the media and by particular politicians, then you are going to get the average person potentially flocking to the far right. Although there are many people who are actually moving towards the left because they see most of the political parties moving to the right, and they've had enough of division politics and scapegoat politics. That's why in the UK, for example, Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana have come together to co-lead the Your Party. It's not the name yet, but they are looking to get a name for it. But that will be a party on the left with the working name of Your Party. So there's an appetite for left-wing politics also. Migration could, in principle, play a crucial role in easing labour shortages as native populations age, Lagarde said. But political economy pressures may increasingly limit inflows. She stressed that Europe's labour market has emerged from recent shocks in unexpectedly good shape, but she cautioned against assuming that dynamic will last. Demographic decline, political backlash, and shifting worker preferences still threaten the Eurozone's resilience. Okay, people, what do you think about that? What do you think? Has immigration had a positive impact on your country where you are? Do immigrants contribute positively to society? Do they take part? Are they productive? Do they contribute economically? Do let us know in the comment section below what your thoughts are about that. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Please support the channel by clicking the join button. Okay, people, catch you in the next one.